I remember I was at Edison Middle School, probably in 1980 or 81, and this was actually, I think it was slightly, it may have been before I was going there. I saw somebody in an orchestra. This was in the school orchestra, lots of violins and violas and cellos, and it was directed by Leo Pondelik at the time, who was a uh, great string teacher. And I saw one of these in the center, just one guy playing it, and I remember that day vividly, going, you know, what is that, and why is it so striking? And then when I heard it played, it was it just adds such a depth to the whole orchestra. It just was striking visually, and then when I heard it, um, I instantly fell in love with it. I had been playing piano and trumpet prior to that point, and because our parents enrolled us in everything they could think of, and music kind of stuck a little better than sports for me. And so I started playing this at Edison Middle School and just was kind of glued to it. And I kind of think of this as still, even though I play other things and I'm hired to do other things, this is kind of like my main thing. Actually, probably 90% of the time I get asked to play this and then some other things, and then I usually like this the most. But I've had this instrument for a while. I played, you know, in middle school and in high school, and then eventually in college as a string-based performance major for just one semester, and then I decided I wasn't going to be necessarily a career orchestral player, but it did end up being pretty much my career. This particular instrument used to belong to Central High School in Champaign. The top was coming off, the neck was off. There was a gear that was missing. Some decorative pieces right here were gone. I think I don't know if the bridge was lost. I mean, most of it was, it was pretty much close to being thrown out. And this is a solid wood instrument, which is a little bit more prone to falling apart in a school that had pretty much forced air heat. So it was like really dry in the band room. And for those who are from Illinois, know how dry it gets in the wintertime. It gets so damp in the summer, and then it gets so dry because of the heat there. So this was really in terrible shape, and I'd been playing another instrument that my parents had both for my sister and I. My mother received an inheritance that she decided to go toward getting really nice instruments for both my sister and I. And so I had another instrument that was like supposedly an Italian instrument from the late 1800s, which I still play. And I ended up taking this one from the school and holding on to it for a while, and they didn't seem to care that much. I actually did mention, do you want it back? And they didn't seem to care either. And I had it put together by John Gray, and had been taking stuff to him for years, and so he put it all together, and it was great, and he charged very little for it, which he was prone to do. And I always thought this instrument was good, but I really didn't. It was just another instrument at the house, and I really played the Italian instrument for a long time, and even to the point where I was playing it professionally. I moved to Nashville from Champaign in 1992, and I was starting to work a bit. I was starting to get a little bit of work here. Prior to moving, it was really Paul Zahn, Paul Zahn, who used to be faculty at U of I. He was my composition professor, and he was really, along with my sister and other people, he was really kind of one that was encouraging me to move down here and see if I could make a go of it as either as a session or touring musician. So I decided to take the plunge in '92, and in late '94, I started working with Lyle Lovett on the road, and it was a record that had come out about a year beforehand called "I Love Everybody," which featured great bassist John Leftwich playing upright bass. It was the first time that he had really had upright bass on any of his recordings. And that job became available to me, and I started touring with him then. And so I took my other bass, the Italian bass that I'd always played and learned on, and it was great instrument. And at the end of the tour, the guitar tech calls and says, "Oh, we had an accident with your bass." And at first he was kind of a jokester, and he had I wasn't sure if he was kidding, but he wasn't. It had a whole bunch of hairline fractures in there, and I ended up having to use this one in the interim while the other one was being fixed. And so people that I'd worked with before, when I started bringing this instrument, they said, "Boy, what is this? What is this one?" And just that they kind of freaked out about how great it sounded. And I had really kind of not had a whole regard for it, because it was always the other instrument was the one. And so I started recording with this one starting in pretty much '95, and it became like my number one instrument from that point on. And I still think of it as like anytime I record anything, 99% of the time it's this instrument. So I use this one on a lot of the Lyle Lovett records, the Bill Frisell records that I did with him, the Gone Just Like a Train, Nashville record in the '90s. As many tours on this as possible. I did my solo records on this instrument. I did a James Taylor record recently with this instrument, and it's a John Juzek Czechoslovakian or Czech Republic. It was still called made in Czechoslovakia here. It was made in 1946, and there are a lot of these out there. They were considered a factory instrument, but some of them are wonderful and some are terrible, and this one happened to be a really good one with a really nice pointed mid-range, and it just records better than it makes me sound like I'm better than I am.